Hi, I'm Bormai. In today's video, we're going to compare the Fara 83, the C58 versus the CR56 Amax versus the XM4 assault rifles. I'm going to show you the best loadout for each one of these rifles. I'm going to include a side-by-side stack comparison, recoil patterns, and more. If you're using a better assault rifle, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I'd love to know what you're using. Tell me all about it. I'd love to give it a try myself. If you're currently using one of these, leave me a comment and let me know how it's working for you. I'd definitely love to hear from you. If you like this video, please hit that like button. I'm really trying hard to hit that YouTube algorithm. Also, if you're new, consider subscribing. I'd love to have you back every week for more Call of Duty Warzone videos. First, let's talk about the Fara 83. This gun has had some nerfs, it's had some buffs, it's been up, it's been down. Basically, it is one of the easiest recoil control assault rifles out there in Warzone, which has basically made this a Warzone community favorite for the last couple seasons. If you're looking for an accurate go-to assault rifle, Fara 83 definitely fits that role very, very well. For the build, we're going to use the GRU suppressor, and that's going to basically keep you off the minimap. It's going to make it so nearby enemies don't hear you as well. It's also going to help with the vertical recoil control, the bullet velocity, so your bullets, they're going to basically get to your hostile enemies a little faster. Effective damage range, so your bullets hit harder further away. Then we're going to slap in that Spetsnaz RPK barrel. Now that's going to help with more bullet velocity, more effective damage range. It's also going to help with that vertical and horizontal recoil control. As far as the scope goes, I prefer the Axle Arms 3x scope. But, you know, you can use whatever you prefer. Use what's best for your game style and your play style. I don't know what that is, only you do. Then we're going to throw in that Spetsnaz 60 round. Basically, you're going to use this to drop multiple hostiles without having to reload. And finally, we're going to wrap that grip up nice and tight with that Serpent Wrap. And that's going to help get that ADS speed nice and fast. Now, if you're still having a little bit of trouble with that recoil control, I said Field Agent grip here in the load, but I meant the Spetsnaz grip, and that's basically going to help you with a little bit more horizontal and vertical recoil control. Now let's talk C58. Yes, I know when Season 5 started, they put a lot of buffs into the damage range, the ADS speed, the bullet velocity, and despite all of these nerfs, if you can control this weapon, it is hands down, pound for pound, the best assault rifle currently in Warzone. For this build, I'm going to use the agency suppressor. Again, that's going to help with your sound suppression so that you don't show up on the minimap. It's also going to help with your bullet velocity, so your bullets travel quite a bit faster, and effective damage range. Makes your bullets hit harder further away. It also helps with the vertical recoil, as this gun does have some real up and down bounce to it. Next, we're going to put on that 18.5 Task Force barrel for both the horizontal and vertical recoil control. It's going to add a little bit more effective damage range and a little bit more bullet velocity, so you can quickly down those further targets. I like to use the Axle Arm 3x scope, but again, you use whatever you prefer for your playstyle. I like to throw on that Stanek 55 round drum. That's basically so you can down more enemies without reloading. Then I'm going to throw on that Field Agent grip for horizontal recoil control. Now that's the left and right recoil control, and this also helps with the vertical recoil, and that's the up and down. Let's talk about the CR56 Amax. If you played last season, then you know the Amax was the best gun in Warzone for both Verdansk and Rebirth Island, but it is still one of the most powerful assault rifles in the game. The Amax Loadout is as follows. I use that monolithic suppressor. As usual, it's going to keep your sound suppression down, and it's going to help you be as quiet as possible, and it's going to increase your damage range. As far as the Amax Loadout goes, that's as follows. The monolithic suppressor, as usual, that's going to help with sound suppression, and it's also going to help with your damage range so that you can hit those far-off hostiles. I like the XRK Zodiac S440. Basically, that's going to add more damage range. It's going to add a little bullet velocity. That way you can basically have Scotty beam your bullets directly to the hostiles. And it's going to help with recoil control, so this gun is easier to use. On all my Modern Warfare guns, I always use the Integral Hybrid. I really like the 3x scope. but I also like to switch to that hollow scope every now and again for up close quarter combat. Then I'm going to throw on the 45 round mag. And obviously, I probably don't need to say this, but it's so you can reload less and shoot more bullets. Finally, I like the Commando foregrip, and that's going to help you control the recoil quite a bit better, and especially for those longer range gunfights. The last gun we're going to talk about tonight is the XM4. The XM4 has insanely fast ADS speed and is extremely easy to control the recoil. It's basically made this one of the most popular assault rifles, and it has the most versatility of any of the assault rifles in the game. You can use this as sniper support, you can use it as an SMG for close quarter combat, but we're going to talk about the long range assault rifle capability. As far as the loadout goes for the XM4, we're going to use that agency suppressor. It does the same thing that the other agency suppressor does: effective damage range, bullet velocity, and vertical recoil control. Then we're going to throw on the task force barrel. It pretty much does the same thing as the agency suppressor. It's going to have more effective damage range, more bullet velocity, and then both horizontal and recoil control. Of course, I like that axle arms 3 times. You use whatever you like best is probably best for you. Then I'm going to use the field agent grip, and that is for horizontal and vertical recoil control, and that Stanig 60 round mag, and that is again so you can drop as many hostiles without having to reload. Next, let's talk about time to kill and damage per second. And as always, I like to aim center mass of the chest and go to the head from there. That way, I am at least getting some bullets in a hostile, and I'm not missing slightly aiming for the head. If you're a real beast, go for the head. We're going to talk about that time to kill as well. In the green, we've got the Fara, and it's going to be at 0.6 seconds, basically 0.61 seconds up till about 30 meters to 31 meters, and then it's going to have its damage drop off. Next, you're going to have your C58 in pink, and that's going to be about 0.65 to 0.68 seconds up to about 30 meters. Then the CR56 Amax in orange and the XM4 are in the light blue, and those are pretty much the same gun up till about 35 meters, where the XM4 does have slightly better range to the. You're going to see that the Amax is probably the best gun if you're a beast and you can hit the head. It is really going to down people super, super fast. You're going to love the gun if you try it out. It's a little harder to control than, say, maybe the Fara or the XM4, but if you can, it is very, very worth it. Then you're going to see in the blue the XM4. It is very, very competitive with the Amax in the about 42 to 45 milliseconds. Then you're going to see the C58. Now, the C58 is probably the most direct damage gun, as it stays pretty much the same all the way until you can't hit somebody with this gun. Last, you're going to have the Fara, but the perk for the Fara is it's very easy to control. But the XM4 is also easy to control, maybe even a little easier than the Fara, and its damage to the head is a little better. Now we're going to talk about that new neck TTK. As you can see, the XM4 in blue is the best gun to use if you're hitting people in the neck. Now, in my opinion, that neck is so small, it's even smaller than the head hitbox. So if you're a real beast, I mean, just a badass dude, and you can hit neck shots over head shots, XM4 all day, baby. XM4 all day, baby. Then, of course, we're going to have the Amax, followed by the C58, and in last place for this one will be the Fara. Last, let's talk about the Extremities TTK. It is pretty much the same as the head, where the Fara is going to be the front runner, followed by the C58 in pink, and then you're going to have the Amax and the XM4 in blue and orange. Again, this is anywhere, basically shoulder, elbow, toe, the knuckle on your little pinky finger, whatever you hit, these are the extremities, all your extra little spots you can hit somebody. The recoil patterns are as follows. If you look at the far left, you're going to have your Fara. If next to that, to the right of that, is going to be your C58. And then further to the right of that is going to be your Amax. And then the far right is going to be your XM4. The Fara and the XM4 are going to be quite a bit easier to control that vertical recoil, that's your up and down recoil, than the C58 or the Amax. My personal go-to right now has been the XM4 and the C58. I just like using the XM4. It's a lot of fun. But the C58, if I'm really trying to get that win. Here is your side-by-side stat comparison. As far as the fire rate goes, or the rate of fire, the Fara is going to be the fastest with 790 rounds per minute, followed by the XM4 with 721 rounds per minute, then the Amax with 630 rounds per minute, and the C58 follows closely, 503 rounds per minute. As far as the range modifier goes, the C58 and the XM4 get the best boost. However, the other two weapons are very effective at range. Your ADS speeds, they're all in the 400 milliseconds. However, the Fara is going to be the fastest, followed closely by the XM4. You can go from your tactical sprint to fire, and most of these guns in 392 milliseconds. Fara comes out on top, 371 milliseconds. Then if you look at the bullet velocity, you'll see the XM4 has an insanely, like I said, have Scotty beam those bullets directly to the hostiles with 1,153 meters a second. Then you're going to have the C58, followed by the Amax, followed by the Fara, then the Amax. Your reload time, your best reload time is going to be your C58 at 2 seconds. Then you're going to have the Amax at 2.25 seconds, followed by the XM4. And this is where the Fara kind of loses a little luster to me, 3.17 seconds. However, I feel like it is made up a little bit with the 60 rounds. The Amax only has 45 rounds, but I'm telling you what, this gun is a hard hitter. You get several bullets into the hostile, they're going to regret coming across your path. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm really trying hard to hit that YouTube algorithm so I can hopefully shoot up the YouTube homepage. Anyway, this has been all about the Fara, the C58, the Amax, and of course the XM4. Hopefully this video has been helpful to you. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you can use this to make an educated choice on which gun you want to use next time you drop into Verdansk. Either playing Warzone, Rebirth Island, or Plunder. Whatever your game mode is, hopefully you found this helpful. And of course, if you run into me, hope the guns don't work at all. Until next time, I'm Bormai, signing out. Wishing you happy gaming.